Welcome to the Be Active podcast with Daniel. This podcast is dedicated to fitness and well-being, where my guest and I share our motivations and stories. Regardless of your fitness level, we believe that our experiences can help you on your fitness journey. In today's episode, I'm here with Joanna. Joanna, please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Hi, I'm Joanna and I'm a personal trainer. I've been a PT for 10 years and I'm obsessed with fitness.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. So when you mentioned that, I'm wondering what was your spark that you actually started with this journey? What made you to go to a gym and start working out in the first place?
I used to live in Poland for 21 years of my life and I used to be really active, biking everywhere, running, going out into the woodland. And then I moved to UK and I think after a year in, I was working at the KFC, so I was always pretty much there, always doing overtime. I was a shift runner, so all I was eating was KFC every day. And yes, exactly. And I wasn't active as much anymore because obviously I was living in a small town, so there was nowhere to go. And as you know, in the UK, there isn't much woodland. If you don't drive, you don't really get to spend time in nature. So then one day I just looked in the mirror and I noticed that I actually gained so much weight that it's just uncomfortable. I think I was 15 kilograms overweight. So from somebody who was really active, really slim, now I realized that I am size 16. And
Is that a lot?
I wasn't really aware of it until I tried to put on some shorts in summer that I used to wear when I was 18. And I literally had this much left to button them up. And it was like a shock for me, like, how could I let this get so far? How could I be so unhealthy? How could I be so unfit, etc., etc. So then I just decided to do something about it.
Oh, right. Wow. I didn't expect that, to be honest.
No, everybody thinks I've always been fit.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I would think so too. So with all of what you just told me, when you find yourself being in such a place that you got overweighted out of nowhere, basically, you kind of lost track of your body and just got into this nice chubby place, yeah? How, what did you do then? What did follow? Like, was it about your negative motivation or more positive that you want to feel great about yourself? Was it like, oh, I don't like the way I'm feeling. I want to feel good. I'm feeling bad. What was the main reason that you actually started working out then? So there are some people out there that they don't mind the way they look, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
They may gain some weight and they are fine with that. So why you haven't been fine with that? Why you decided to take action?
I think everybody has like a different threshold of how much they can stand. So my weight didn't bother me until that point when I actually realized this has gone too far. And that point of too far is different for different people. Like for me, 15 kg overweight was way too far and I never got this far. And I wanted to change it because I didn't feel comfortable in my own body. Like I know you're going to ask me about my goal later, but my goal was always my like inner strength to reflect on my body. And it wasn't doing that anymore. I was soft and squishy and and unfit as well. And another thing that I was doing, I would eat really unhealthy. I would have KFC every day. But when I came back from work, I would have a bottle of wine to myself every single night and a big bag of crisps. Yeah. So, and I would just play PlayStation or write books. And that was how my life was going. And I started noticing all those things when my mindset shifted towards fitness and towards being healthier. And I was like, actually, I am quite dependent on alcohol. I am quite dependent on unhealthy food. I have a really badly structured routine in my life. And it wasn't something that I wanted. I wanted to do better and I knew I could do better. So it wasn't so much about my looks. The look of me was the thing that triggered the need for deeper change, for better things. And it kind of spiraled from there. And my life was just getting better and better because everything just started falling into place, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does.
So I think that was the biggest drive to improve not just my body, but absolutely everything. And then when I first started, I gave up after 2 months. So I decided to do Pilates because it was that time, it was 10 years ago, and every girl wanted to do Pilates and all this bullshit. Which is not going to help you with weight loss at all. It's nice because it's a form of activity, But if you have 15 kilograms of body fat to lose, Pilates is not the way to do it. But I wanted an easy way. I wanted to do something nice. So I did the nice thing for 2 months. It didn't work. I didn't change my eating habits. So I kind of gave up and I came back to it 6 months later because obviously nothing has changed. I just got more frustrated. And I started doing the hard things. So the harder workouts, the cardio, the running, the biking. I started changing my food. And then in a space of 2 or 3 months, I lost 10 kilos.
Wow.
So I was like, this is the way forward. I have to do the hard, uncomfortable things. I remember trying to do push-ups and crying at the same time from frustration because I couldn't do one. You know what I mean?
That's very, oh my God, for your mental health as well, like beating you down a lot.
You know what? I was always a very confident person and my body didn't really affect my confidence, but I was always very ambitious. And if I couldn't do something, I wanted to do it even more. When I first started this journey, I didn't have much support because people didn't believe that I could stick to it. So when I first started exercising, I said to my sister, oh, I'm going to exercise. I want to lose weight. I want to feel better. And she said, you're going to do it for a week and you're going to quit.
Wow.
And 10 years later, I am her PT.
Wow.
And I got her in the most amazing shape she's ever been after having 2 children. If I ever listened to everybody else, I would never have done it. But I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go through with this. And
Wow.
here I am.
Jesus Christ. Definitely respect. I didn't see that coming there. Eventually, you become her PT and tell her and guide her through the whole thing of losing weight, the struggles, helping out, explaining things, exercises, dieting, planning out. It's actually a lot, especially for you being such a personal trainer, very experienced over the long period of time. That's absolutely fantastic, to be honest. Like, I'll prove you wrong that I can do it.
And
You got to through.
I think a lot of my clients come from the same place as well because they've been overweight for such a long amount of time. They got used to it and they got used to being comfortable in their discomfort. And there's nobody else, nobody there to push them into doing something better, something for themselves. And having that experience from my side, trying things and failing and then trying something else and succeeding, and actually being in that place where I was comfortable in my discomfort, drinking a bottle of wine every night and eating a bag of crisps, I can relate to it. But at the same time, I know how to overcome that mindset.
Mm-hmm. Which must be very powerful, definitely, especially not only for you as a person knowing how it feels. So you're not just saying, I know how it feels, but you actually been through it. And I think that empowers the people that you train in even more because they know you've been there, you know how it feels, and you are in this place at the moment. So maybe they can be there too. So it's definitely the compassion that you have that I know how it feels. You feel like piece of shit. You feel like this. I've been there. I know how it is. It must be so empowering, I bet. And right now, you're a personal trainer for several years, right? You went through your whole certificate process where you learn a lot about body, how to work out, and so on. When you didn't know before all of this and you had no experience, how did you learn actually when you got first time to a gym?
One of the things that I regret is not being able to afford a personal trainer when I first started. Because it took me years to learn everything I know. It took me 2 to 3 years to figure out how to do exercises. And because it was YouTube and it was trial and error. And I went through so many different phases from doing CrossFit to doing powerlifting and then finally to doing some high volume bodybuilding stuff that I kind of linked onto and I love it. And I don't think I'll ever change. I absolutely love this way of training. But when I first started, I would just look at people that look like they know what they're doing or they were in a very, very good shape. And I would just approach them and ask them how they did it and ask them to give me some advice. Because I think that people that look really good in the gym, there's always that little insecurity. It's a body dysmorphia and all this stuff. The better you look, the worse you think you look. And the more you want as well. When you approach those people that actually look decent and ask them for advice, they glow. They love it. And I've never been turned away. And that's how I made a lot of friends throughout the years in the gym as well, asking people questions, asking them to help me, asking them to explain to me how things work. And then I think when I did my qualifications, after about 3 years of training, I met this guy in Newark actually, and he became my coach. So we started training together, and he was super experienced with bodybuilding, and he was in an amazing shape. And he actually showed me how to do things properly. So I was 3 years in. I already learned a lot. I've read all the research that is available on the internet. Obviously, try not to Google it. Try to read the actual studies, because when you Google the best exercise to lose stomach fat, it tells you that sit-ups. I fact checked it. It's actually what Google says. So this guy has actually taught me a lot.
Wow. I think this is one of the greatest advice that you can give someone when they start and get a personal trainer. Having even the courage to go to someone and speak with them, especially when you're a newbie. I'm not sure if everyone would do it, so definitely respect to you that you've done it, because I think usually when I came to a gym for the first time, I was kind of like, oh, let's see what that guy doing, and I'm going to try do things as he does. But it never went right, and I didn't know what I'm doing, why am I doing it, and how to do it. So definitely props to you that you could go to someone and be like, hey, can you help me out? And even encourage those people to help you out. On top of that, that must be great. Making a friendships community. You come next time and you got 5 new friends, technically speaking, and you're not feeling like, oh my God, I'm so scared here. No one knows me here. You can see a bunch of massive dudes like, and you're like, what's going on here, you know? Respect that you done it, to be honest, for sure.
I think the most grumpy men that I've ever met in the gym were the nicest ones, the most grumpy looking. And they have this gym face on, resting bitch face, and they look like they don't want to be approached, but they're the actual ones that were the nicest. And what I always think to myself, whenever I'm doing things that you might be a little bit wary of, you might be a little bit scared, I always say to myself, what's the worst that can happen? You will just tell me to bugger off. Yeah, my life is not going to end. So with that in mind, I always do things.
Wow, that's amazing. Is it something how you also trying to kind of embed in your own people that come to your own clients? So is it the way, your mindset, how you're trying to basically pass on to your clients as well, the way you teach them exercise and everything? What's your style? How do you do it?
Well, definitely I'm trying to implement sort of some of my mindset. So things like not relying on motivation, and what's the worst that can happen? If you fall, I catch you, and stuff like that. I implement it a lot, but I think personal training is, I don't know if you'll agree with me, but it's a therapy session.
Okay, in terms of what
in
exactly?
terms of mental health, like to bigging people up all the time, challenging them to do better. Every time my client is proud of themselves because they push this certain amount of weight, this certain amount of reps, I always put more weight on. And they're like, oh, but I just did it. I'm like, but if you did this, it means you can do that.
All right.
So it's like overcoming that doubt by themselves that is actually making them feel a lot better about themselves. So it's not just seeing the results, but overcoming the fears, proving to yourself that you can do it. That doesn't matter what it is. Whatever it is, you think you can't, you always can. You just need to try. So there's a lot to it. To be fair, with the mindset and coaching. So we would need another bloody podcast just for that.
I mean, it's possible. Why not? We can do part 1 and then part 2. Not a problem to me.
Yeah, we can split it up.
Yeah, we can for part 1 and part 2, and eventually get even opinions from people out there that may have questions for you. So that's something I can put in a podcast later on, and we can highlight some of them. We can go through them as well, make it more interactive.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, fine. When you told me about the mindset that you have with your clients, my question probably would be, how does it work exactly? So is there more people that come in with the question, how do I lose weight? I want to lose weight. Is there the more requests for losing the weight over the time that you already experienced? Or more, I want to build muscles? And then in which cases as well, do we talk more about women or about men? Who you train more often?
I train more women than men. But I think in general, personal trainers get a lot. I would say 80% of requests for personal training come from women. You go to the gym very often by yourself and you see other men training and you see that there's a lot of room to improve. But I don't know if you agree, but most of the women that go to the free weight section, they know exactly what they're doing.
I mean, about 50-50, yeah.
So it's just my observation, probably because I come from the gym when there isn't a lot of women in the free weights area.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, so it's majority men. But I think from my own perspective, I think women don't have an issue to admit when they need help. And sometimes for men to overcome that, I don't know if it's ego or insecurity or the masculinity that the world always tells you men, like, you have to be strong, you have to know your shit, you have to know what to do. Yeah, you can't ask people for help, you have to sort it out yourself. I think that pressure from the society on men makes them actually not reach out
Hmm.
to personal trainers for help, either male or female. So a majority of every personal trainer that I know, majority of their clients are female.
Based on your own perception, right? So mainly, I mean, you're a female, obviously, so you know when there's more women reaching you out than a man. And when you have your male colleagues, do you see the same pattern as well, or is this applicable overall, female trainer or male trainer?
It's female and male trainer.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. Yeah,
Wow.
most of our clients are female. I would say if somebody has 10 clients, 8 of them will be female, 2 will be male.
I didn't expect that by any means, to be honest. By any
Yeah,
means.
it's really surprising when you look at the numbers. And obviously, I used to run gyms. I used to hire staff, and I would
Mhm.
do like the business checks, so checking how many clients they've got, how they doing, etc., etc. And yeah, the pattern would just emerge in there.
Wow. Because you basically have an experience from previous time when you mentioned when you used to be a personal trainer and also manager in the Peterborough gym. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have not only personal trainer, for some people that may think another personal trainer, but also manager of the actual facility commercial gym. So I bet that's a different level to me at least.
Yeah, it's a different level of experience for sure. I think working for a commercial gym that has 5,000 members puts things into perspective.
5,000.
5,000 members. We after 2 months from opening, we had 5,000 members.
Oh my God. That sounds like a lot of clients. I mean, a lot of potential as well to make your place when you open, I guess, from the very start you're the one who can have a quite a lot of influence how the gym gonna evolve over the time, and also what kind of people you having in. So when I usually come into some gym that's already there, they are the OGs. Yeah, they already like, hey, what's up, man? What's up? I'm like, yeah, I'm here new. They don't care about me. Once you have totally brand new people, the relationships and community is just started building up, right?
It was absolutely amazing experience, to be fair, because everybody that came through that door was new to this gym. So there was a lot less anxiety, and I managed to create a community very, very quickly. The classes were constantly fully booked. The gym was full all the time. And we didn't really have any issues because there was no sort of groups of people. You always got the OGs in every single gym that always stick together, and you've
Yeah.
got the newbies that are just quietly sitting in the corner trying to do their workout. Everyone was mixed, and it was absolutely fantastic to see members with more experience actually looking after the members with less experience, sharing their experience, trying to help out. And then I had the freedom of choosing my own staff as well, which was brilliant because I chose the right people for the job. And it was absolutely amazing when we first opened. If you ever get a chance to work in management and open your own gym, I would highly recommend that.
At the moment, I'm definitely more interested in have a workout with you. Let's put me through your hell day and see how it's going on, your hell training, and see how it goes. I've been observing your Instagram recently, and I went through more recently than previously. And I saw some of the trainings, and it's kind of hardcore sometimes. I can see not only the gains that you're putting on, the way that you're able to change your body, gaining muscle weight. When you lose weight, you know how to do it. So I can see that the clear structure. Now is a diet time, you having your structure. Now is a bowl time, and so on and so forth. And I was definitely impressed how much change you made from very first time when I met you in probably 2016 or so. And I saw there your pictures, how you look before you start working out, yeah? And then I look at you, I was like, okay, here are the pictures on the board. I look on the left, you're there behind reception, like, is that the same person? I just couldn't believe that huge change. It was so inspirational, especially when I can look at you on the photos and I look at you there in the person. That was absolutely amazing. And I wonder, when you work out with someone, are you trying to encourage them to go slowly while increasing the load and everything? Or does it happen often that you have someone and they fall off a wagon or just quit very quickly because the training can be too hard, for example? Because I bet you can be hardcore. I saw some of your trainings. I wonder, is it something that you try to apply to other people as well? Or is it really something that gradually increase slowly?
So it varies from a person to a person, because after doing this for 10 years, you meet a new client for a consultation. You can kind of gauge how far you can push them and what you can make them do depending on their personality. Obviously, people seeing my picture on the board and seeing my Instagram know that I like to trade hard and I like to push people. This is my style. And they want to be pushed, they want to be challenged. So that's why they come to me. If you want somebody constantly cuddling them and telling them, oh no, lower the weight if it's uncomfortable, it's fine, then they won't come to me, because it's like every time you go for a service, you've got your favorite barber because of his personality, because of his skills. And it's exactly the same with people looking for a personal trainer. They're looking for personality, they're looking for skill, and they're looking for style. So I've never actually had a client that told me you pushed me too far. I had clients tell me that I didn't push them enough.
Is that so?
Sometimes you're not gauging correctly. So you think, I've got this client, for example, she's got a very bad mental health issues, depression, anxiety, and it's her first time leaving the house in 2 years just to come and train with me. So it took a lot of courage to actually come out. She even orders shopping online. That's
Oh
the
my
level
God.
of anxiety and depression we're talking about. And I was trying to be a little bit more gentle on her from the start. One day I asked her, how do you find training? You know, if is everything all right? Would you like to change anything? I sent her like the whole form to fill out. And she was like, actually, I find it too easy. I don't think you're pushing me hard enough. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not, I'm like, no, it's amazing that you're telling me this, because the more feedback you give me, the better experience you're going to receive. And,
Absolutely, yeah.
and if a client is just going through it and is unhappy and then leaves without telling me why, you know, without telling me that there were certain things that they didn't enjoy or they would like to do be done differently, then I can't change it.
True.
So, but yeah, I don't get people telling me that I push them too far. You know, they absolutely enjoy being pushed and overcoming their own limits. And that's what I like. That's why I train the way I train. You know, I like hardcore training. I love when my muscles are crying. I do 200 lateral races only because I can, you know, just
Because
for
you
shits
can.
and giggles. And
Okay.
yeah, I love that. You have to have fun with your training, but you also need to know when to slow down. Because sometimes clients are really motivated. I've got another client who's been really motivating, hitting the gym hard 5 times a week, really pushing herself. But last week when we had our PT session, she started to complain a lot. Like, oh, I can't be bothered to do this. Like, can we just do 6 reps instead of 12 and stuff like that? So I'm like, I think you need to take time off, like have a deload week, you
Yes.
know, and train a little bit less next week, sleep more, eat more, and then come back to me with that mindset that you had on you when we started and when we, like, for the last couple of months since we started, because I can tell that you're burning out
hmm
and it's not good for you to be kind of pushing through it, because when you're at the burnout and you just keep pushing through it and through it and through it instead of taking a break, it's just going to make it worse.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's
Right.
knowing when to step back and give your clients some space to recover, you know, and take a break from training, and when to push them is a very important skill to have in this line of work.
I guess there's something that can a lot of people benefit from your experiences, right? Because as you mentioned, having a deload week, not only from the physical fatigue, but also the mental fatigue, that's something that just piles up over the time. So at the beginning, it might be easy, but over the if you push someone for a whole month, their limits, almost every single training, they'll accumulate the mental and physical fatigue quite quickly. So when you mention that, I think that definitely the very valuable lesson that people should learn. I've basically burned out so many times because I never applied the proper deload. So I wonder when you're having someone, how often for them or for you specifically, how often do you incorporate deload throughout the year, for example?
You know what? I don't schedule it into my training per se. Like, oh, every 6 weeks I have to have a deload week,
Ah,
because I enjoy training so much that I don't really want to have a deload week. You know,
yeah.
if I feel okay, why would I do it? You know, if I'm not falling apart, if I don't feel overly tired, you know, agitated, and I don't know, depressed, then I don't feel the need to do it. And I kind of screen myself every now and then. You know, if I feel like if my attitude towards the gym changes into, oh my god, I can't be bothered, and if it lasts like a couple of days, I'm like, okay, it's time to take a little bit of a break. And I monitor my clients in exactly the same way, because everyone is different. Some of them can go for 3 months, and they're absolutely loving it, enjoying it, and they're not tired at all because they don't work 12 hours a day. So let's say they work from home, they sit at home for 6 hours. They have a really nice weekend routine when they rest. They always eat plenty, drink plenty. So people like that don't have very demanding lifestyle, they don't need as much time off as a person who works 12 to 14 hours, with heavy machinery, and doesn't get much sleep because she's got 2 kids that are constantly crying, and she has to do this and that and look after this. And that person will need a lot more rest. So I do it when we're talking in the gym. So I assess where they are physically and mentally. And I also do every 2 weeks, I send them a form to fill out, to kind of gauge where, because people are not always honest to your face, but if it's a form, they're more likely to tell you the truth. So so in the form, they normally tell me more than they do when we face to face.
Oh.
Yeah, especially that I'm sending the forms on Sunday when they're relaxed, when they're not doing anything, so they can actually take more time to assess the way they're feeling. And also, they're not that the way they're feeling is not impacted by endorphins, and all those hormones released during your workout. So they might actually feel completely different on the rest day than they do when they are in the gym in the present moment.
I think that's a very smart approach, definitely, especially as you mentioned, giving them their space, being off of your time, and actually have a time to fill in and actually dive deeper. How am I actually feeling? Not something, I feel great, let's do it, let's continue. Like, are you really sure? Yeah, in the gym, or not even putting yourself out there like, I might be weaker, I might be feeling shit, but once you're behind the screen, you're more protected. Like, I don't mind to say it now because maybe it's uncomfortable to say out loud that person in the gym where everyone around you is like grinding, and you're like, yeah, I feel a bit weak this week,
Yeah. Yeah, there is nothing worse than making somebody talk about their weaknesses out loud in a public setting.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of clients that suffer with mental health issues or eating disorders, and some very often, and they have like childhood trauma and stuff like that, and very often coming to the gym and training releases that bad energy and they start crying.
Oh shit.
I get a lot of crying in the gym.
Really?
I do, from men and women alike as well.
I didn't see that coming, definitely.
No, it's something that nobody thinks about when you become a personal trainer. You have to be a therapist, as I mentioned at the start of our session. I would ask them, would you like to step away? They always say no. They always stay where they are. I just wait for them to kind of calm their breathing, and I'm like, are you ready to do another set? Yes. We will talk about it when you calm down. Let's just smash out this session, and we're going to dedicate 10 minutes at the end of the session to talk about what made you feel the way you felt there, what triggered that emotional response, and then we can reflect on that, because it's not normal to be crying in a public setting just out of the blue because something has triggered you
while you're going through the hard training. So it happened to me maybe 3 times here when everything's piled up, but it was in my private gym, so I didn't mind. I can cry whatever I want, listen to hardcore rock music, being shirtless, and do whatever I want. It was my gym. But doing this publicly, wow.
So you can only imagine how high the pressure has been for those people that made the dam fall in the middle of the gym in front of all those people.
My God, there must be a lot. I can't even imagine, especially in a public place where there are people around you. And on top of that, you have a session with someone like you that they know you're there for them. You just can't hide because there'll be always conversation. You talk with them every second minute, right? Unless they're working out. So, Jesus Christ.
But it makes you appreciate the level of trust that you get as well. The other day I was at home, and my client called me, and he just started crying on the phone and telling me what he's going through. And he's only 21 years old, bless him. And he's got the weight of the world on his shoulder. Like, he's the most organized 21-year-old I've ever met in my life. And all the pressure started building up, and he was reaching out to me to get some guidance in how to deal with things. And I feel so, I don't know, humbled with the level of trust that those people put in me, not just with the fitness and weight loss journey and muscle gain journey, whatever the goals are, but to actually call pretty much a stranger, just a PT that they see once or twice a week, out of the blue, just to get the weight of your chest and be vulnerable with me. It blows my mind, the level of trust that people put in me, and I think that's the most important part of this job, when you can get people to trust you with their emotions, with their feelings, to tell you what is going on and be honest with you.
That's beautiful, to be honest. I didn't expect it can go even that far, having that trust, as you mentioned. And also for you, it must be so rewarding. As you mentioned, basically, it's total stranger that just trying to do their job, something they got paid for, something they got hired for. And you're way more than that. You're just not a person that's trying to get them to some shape and feel better about themselves and lose weight helps. But even a shape, their mental health, their perception, how they see themselves, and being literally therapist, not just the physical one, but also the mental one. That's
Yeah,
insane.
that's an aspect of personal training that not many people think about, and it's always in the background. But it also puts a lot of mental pressure on the coach
Mm-hmm.
themselves, because you're like everyone's kind of escape.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone is piling their problems onto you all the time, and you listen to all this negativity from everybody. And I'm not complaining; I can take it, but you need to have a certain level of mental strength to be able to deal with that. And I think that's where my training comes in. When I
Mm-hmm.
just put the headphones on and I really push myself, and I turn all those negative things and feelings that, people pile up on me, and my own as well, and I put it into muscle.
Just put it into muscle. All the
Put it into
hatred. Let's
muscle.
make a muscle. It's time to cook muscle with some hatred on top.
Exactly. Negativity is important. And
Yeah,
most people are afraid to feel the negative things, or you should always be happy, or you should always strive to be happy. But I think being miserable is so much more powerful than being happy. I know you might disagree with this mindset, but I think comfort is the ultimate enemy of progress. So if you're happy, if you're comfortable, if everything is going well, you don't want to change anything.
absolutely, yes.
So we need this negativity in our life.
I mean, get pushed sometimes. Definitely, the negativity helps a lot. I think there's definitely a limit of how much hatred and negativity you should put in certain thing. But I think if you can take all the negativity, all the anger, hatred, and basically direct it towards something specific, just get it in, and then when it's time to let it out on one specific thing. So many times, as you mentioned, it can help a lot. If, let's say, back in days when I had my classmates and they were telling me some bad things, I was like, I'm not going to smash your face. I was like, give me more. Thank you. Because then I go to a gym and I'll think of you while I'm doing my bench press and I hit PR just because of you, you piece of man. And that helps so many times.
Turning negativity into positivity is the best thing you can do. And for that's I think that's why we've got so many issues with mental health at the moment, because people think negativity is negative, and they just dwell on the negative instead of trying to turn it into something positive. And I'm not saying it's easy. Gosh, it's really really hard to do that. But once you find your own way to turn all the negatives into positives, it opens so many doors, and you feel so much better for it as well. So it's all about balance, I guess.
I think so too, definitely. Well, again, as you mentioned, having negativity can be sometimes definitely a good thing. And I love this when I listen to Chris Williamson podcast. He mentioned there was some scientific experiment where basically there was a mouse that could sniff a cheese in front of them. Their tail got attached to a spring. That was basically the measure how much they pulled. So there was something amazing in front of them. They trying to get towards you. Cheese reward, amazing. And they try to put a cat behind them. They would eat them, and still the cheese in front of them, which was negative motivation. And they pull even harder because they had two reasons to go: negative one and positive one. So sometimes when you have just positivity, I want to get a better job, but mine is quite okay. So it's not that bad. If I'm not gonna get new job, not bothered. But if you have really shitty job, you grinding out, you, for example, building roads with your own hands, traveling morning to night, that's very difficult job. That would definitely give you some motivation why to get out of this uncomfortable job that ruining your body, you're ruining your day, you're totally drained out of energy, and you're still supposed to be a father or being a partner, doing your normal daily chores. I guess being sometimes in the worst place is better for you. Kick your butt and go out do something than just being in a great, nice, comfortable place, because then where is the motivation to do something better when you're okay? Sometimes the state of okay is not the best to be okay.
I see that a lot more people are reaching out to me to inquire about personal training. From just an email, 1 or 2 emails, I can gauge where they are, if they are uncomfortable enough to make a change or not. And I get some clients that reach out to me and then they say, oh, I'll think about it. I'm like, it's absolutely fine. Take all the time you need. And they come back to me 6 months later when their situation actually got a lot worse. They're like, I'm ready
Because it
now.
had to get so far, so bad.
Yeah, so you have to get to that breaking point where you're so uncomfortable that you reach out and you actually do something about it. That's why I think that's that kind of breaking point, not per se breaking, but that kind of point where you realize I don't want to be uncomfortable anymore and I'm going to do something about it is very, very important. Until you get there, you're just going to be stuck in action all the time.
Sometimes the pain is definitely the greatest motivator. So more pain sometimes you have, they'll motivate you to get even further. Try to get as much as strength you can, mental and physical, and really push harder to get better results, whatever it may be.
Exactly.
Partnership, sometimes when you have an okay relationship, it's okay, it's not that bad, but it's not that good. Why would I reach out there when it's not that bad? Sometimes really that just feels same with the job. I'm having an all right job, but when I had a way worse job, way more physically demanding, and it wasn't as comfortable, I worked harder out there, outside of the job. I worked harder than now because I'm like, it's okay, but I get to push myself harder. Why am I doing this? Because I don't want to get stuck in here and do my own stuff. But I need to really go deeper and think about the bad stuff. Why am I doing this? My past, everything. Trying to get as much as I can really to feel it, because I'm not in that such a bad place as I used to be. So it's definitely more difficult. I wish sometimes I was in shittier job because I bet I would be already outside of this because I would have such a motivation.
As I said, comfort is the enemy of progress. When you settle for okay things, you never seek out the better things, and there are always better things. So the bar can always be higher. You can always do better. You can always, and I think that a lot of people think it's like chasing your own tail. You know, just searching, seeking the better things all the time, raising the bar higher and higher. And I think, what else have you got to do in life? Just raise the bar, just go a little bit better, because it can always get better. And I'm not talking about chasing money. I'm talking about improving your life and making sure that you can provide for yourself, for your family, that everyone around you is happy and content, including you. And what I love about fitness and training is that it's infinite. It's an infinite pursuit of something better, something greater. And there's not many things, because it's like playing chess, for example. It's a finite game. One person wins, one person loses. One with fitness, we all win. We all, as long as we keep trying and we keep pursuing those better things, we all win. And that's why I fell in love with it. And that's why I've been doing it for 10 years constantly. I never took a break, because that infinite thing about it and being able to chase it is just something that really pulls me towards it. But it scares some people.
The infinite games definitely think in terms of fitness, it's not just about the one night fight, as you mentioned, just being fit, get muscular, get lean. And that's it. Now I've done it. I can go and start smashing burgers and go all fat again, because I'll find myself in the same place again. It's like, oh damn, it's not just to get lean, top of my food chain for 1 month and get out of the best physique I ever had for 1 month, and then I'll be again back to where I was. That really doesn't work. So it's definitely infinite game forever. You always can get kind of better. I would definitely say the body dysmorphia also, it's kind of on the edge. Are you having body dysmorphia, or are you just trying to be better, or you always think you'll be a piece of shit for the rest of your life?
It helps. And my friend messaged me because he started training 6 months ago. And he's like, I'm making really good progress. I gained weight because he was really slim. I gained weight, I gained muscle, getting like beach body ready. And I don't know if it's a body dysmorphia or something. I've never experienced it before. But sometimes I go into the gym and I look at myself and I feel like shit. But other days I feel absolutely fantastic. I think I'm ripped and I'm the strongest man in the world. And I'm like, welcome to gymming. Welcome to my world. Sometimes you will feel on top of the world, and sometimes you'll feel like shit, but you really need those days when you feel like shit, because they keep you going.
For sure. It gets you back to the gym, and then you get, again, dopamine, endorphins. You get the pump, how amazing you look in that 1 hour of workout, maybe for 1 hour after, and let's say you're back to your normal human being again.
If I had one wish, It would be for the pump to last forever.
Pump lasts forever. You can apply it to a lot of things, I bet, but in the gym, yeah, that would be definitely great to get a pump last forever. I'm wondering, when you mentioned also having your limits, there being infinite game, do you feel like throughout your whole 10 years of lifting career, yeah, and being personal trainer, do you feel you physically reach all your physical potential, or do you think there's always room to improve, even for yourself? Because once you hit the ceiling, the cap in terms of your age and your capabilities in terms of your body. So do you think you already hit it, you're the best, all the time best, or it's still somewhere out there on the reach?
I used to have that bar that I would put somewhere. Let's say, oh, I want a six pack, or I want to be as slim as possible. And when you have a goal and you work towards it for a long time and you reach it, it kind of leaves you empty, if that makes sense. Like, what do I do now? I don't know what to do with my life because I reached this goal and that's it. What's next? What's after? So I don't have goals per se. I just really enjoy the process of making myself better than I was yesterday. Even I go through bulking and shredding season, so obviously when I'm bulking, I'm strong as hell, and I really enjoy that part. But I hate looking in the mirror because I can see the stomach, the extra body fat that I've gained, because you can't gain just muscle; it's impossible. And then when I'm shredding, I lose the strength. I lose a bit of muscle as well. It's just unavoidable. It's going to happen. But I gain the nice body. I can see the definition. I can see my abs again, and that keeps me happy. That makes me keep going. So with seasonal change of goals, there's always something you can improve on. So it's the bar that you can never really reach, because I just want to be better, in a better shape, or stronger, or whatever else it is, than I was last year. And I want to see, when I take a picture during my bulk in winter, I want to see that I've gained mass, that I've gained size compared to the last year. And during summer, I want to see exactly the same thing, that I look better than I did last year when I shredded. I'm less skinny and more toned and more muscular. And during the process, getting stronger, getting fitter, maintaining that healthy lifestyle is also my priority. So I always want the bar to be a little bit too far for me to reach it. And that makes me happy. And I just enjoy the process, enjoy going to the gym, enjoy training.
I think it's definitely an amazing perspective that you have, because it can happen. Once you reach the bar, let's say, which is not challenging enough, like I want to go competing, that's some definitely high bar. If you want to go competing, be best in Europe, best in UK, there's definitely something maybe unreachable, and maybe too extreme. Also depends what kind of sacrifices you want to make, right? Because further away you go, more sacrifices you need. You want to go lower on body fat, gain more muscle mass, be more focused towards this. You want to do a full-time job. That's a lot of sacrifices that may eventually impact your personal life, your mental health.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you mentioned it, because before I opened Pure Gym, so we were getting ready to open Pure Gym, and I don't know if you ever heard of imposter syndrome. In my own head, I didn't look good enough to call myself a personal trainer. So that was the imposter syndrome. Oh, who am I? I still look good, and people told me that I look good, and admired me for hard work and training and the weights I could lift. But it wasn't enough, because in my head, I just wasn't good enough, basically. So before we opened the gym, I did a 9 months cut. So I was in calorie deficit for 9 months. I went down to size 6, and that was the skinniest I've ever been in my life. And you would think it would make me happy, because I was really shredded, ripped. I managed to keep majority of my muscle. It was the most miserable I've been in my life. I almost lost my partner because he just couldn't be around me. I was impossible to be around. And my health was non-existent. I lost my periods for 6 months. It was just horrible being in a calorie deficit for such a long time, only to look in the mirror and think, I deserve to call myself a personal trainer now. I look serious enough. And bouncy. And I also developed an eating disorder during that time that I've been fighting for the last 2 years. And it was not worth it at all, just to be size 6. Because I created that image in my own head. Nobody told me that I need to lose weight. Nobody told me that I need to be this, to be that.
Wow.
Sometimes you get caught in that not feeling enough. That's why that after all this experience and how long it took me to actually get my health back after all that damage that I caused myself, it took me 2 months to increase the weight. Any weight that I did took 2 months to increase it by like a kilogram or two, because my body took 2 to 3 months to actually recover from what I did to it. Yeah, you're still training 6 times a week, and the weights are exactly the same, and the mental brain fog and the depression and anxiety. It was not worth it for the six pack.
Jesus Christ.
It was totally not worth it. And that's why I decided to change the way I set my goals and how I focus on things, and focus on the journey rather than the final goal, because it makes me so much more happy and so much easier to be around as well. Just to enjoy what I'm doing, just to enjoy training rather than sacrificing something that I love the most, which is actually training for looks, for what? For a six pack for a couple of weeks. It's not worth it.
Especially in terms of women, put it in perspective. When you mentioned you were such a size, what's actually your height and your body weight at the time comparing to now? What's your body weight?
I was 54 kg, and my height is 162 centimeters. And now I am around 64. I don't really weigh myself because I don't care anymore. But I'll be around 64 kg now, so 10 kilograms heavier than I was back then. And I'm already a small person.
And you're way happier now than you used to be, for sure, when you have it in a six pack.
So much happier. As I said, being super skinny, it did not make me happy. I couldn't enjoy the effect of the hard work as soon as I put food in myself, which is, or even a drop of water, would make me bloated, because my body was in that state that it was just completely going mental, whatever I did to it. So I see it because I had to have breakfast before I go to the gym. And then I started training on empty stomach, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I think the breaking point was when my partner asked me if we can go to a restaurant for a meal. We were standing in front of a restaurant. I looked at the menu, and he was like, would you like to go in? I was like, no, can we go somewhere else? So we went somewhere else. And he was like, why didn't you want to go in there? It's a nice restaurant. I said, because they had calories on the menu, and it put me into overdrive.
Oh my God. That's some serious shit.
That was a turning point. I was like, I am never, ever doing that again.
Because it wouldn't be sustainable for sure over the long period of time.
Yeah.
Especially when you already lost your period. Like for women, that's something for sure.
That is a benchmark of basically you are very, very unhealthy. You have to change something. It's like my anorexic clients, my clients that do suffer from anorexia, they don't have periods until they get to a certain point when they're healthy, and the period coming back is a sign of them regaining their health. It's absolutely amazing when they call you crying, say, I got my period back, oh my God, I'm back to life, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm going to tear up and everybody thinks I'm tough.
Well, I would think so, to be honest, based on what I've seen out there, So, although on some of the comments that you sometimes get, some of the hateful comments from especially gentlemen out there, that can be deaf to, having a thick skin. Yeah. Oh, boys, I love you. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when after all this crazy weight loss, I was in the gym. I think at the time I've gained 8 or 10 kilograms back. And it only took me like a couple of months because obviously, when you're starving yourself, your body gains the weight back really quickly. And I remember this guy approached me in the gym when I was filling my water bottle. He was like, well, you've gained some weight. Out of the blue. And I absolutely blew my lid. Like, I lost my shit. I'm not gonna quote what I said to this gentleman. But yeah, like, how bloody dare you? Honestly, like, I am aware of what's happening with my body. I don't know the background story, and this is why people are so prone to judgment. Oh, she's gained weight, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you lost weight, congratulations, you're doing amazing. Why is the weight gain always a bad thing? It's not. It's not always a bad thing. Weight loss is not always a good thing. And you can get caught in this, people will praise me if I lose weight, and people will scrutinize me if I gain weight. At the end of the day, it didn't matter what he thought, because he was some middle-aged, insecure man. But at the same time, it hurts when people tell you what you can already see knowing how far in your mind you've come and how good you got, to lose that. But I was like, I just couldn't allow that to cloud my judgment.
My God. That sounds pretty tough, to be honest. I'm surprised that someone can put this out there just randomly to a person that they don't even know. I think it's pretty brutal.
I get comments all the time, DMs and about the way I look. And I don't know if you know who Dana Lynn Bailey is.
Oh,
Yeah?
sure. Yeah, I mean, I've been following Dana since I was 16. Her and her husband,
Rob
Rob
Bailey.
Bailey. I mean, come on. His music, Run, Hustlers, Hungry, all that songs. Love it.
She made a post the other day about when she first got into bodybuilding, how much hatred she was getting from everybody for the way her body looked, and that she looks like a man, that she's ugly and stuff like that. And what Rob said back to her was that it's so powerful. It doesn't matter if people saying positive or negative things, but you're awakening emotions in them. You're making them feel something. And it's so powerful to be able to do that. Doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. Those people feel the need to tell you how they feel about you. And you can turn that into absolutely anything. And it's your power. So instead of being sad about those negative comments, you have to realize how much power and impact you've got on people. You post a picture without a caption and you get so many comments, people telling you all those different things. It shouldn't affect the way you feel, but you should know how much power you've got over people. You rule them. You own them. And I was like, wow, Rob, blowing my mind completely. Such a, amazing, amazing thing to say to her. And yeah, she was basically talking about that you can't be powerful if you let somebody else dictate what you do and how you behave. Because that's not power, that's being weak, that's being influenced. So to be strong, to be powerful, you have to have your own mind, you have to have your own goals, and don't let other people influence what you do with your life. And yeah, I love Dana. She's amazing.
She is, yeah. I mean, some of her songs, she really push hard to hardcore, and I'll definitely listen to her. Even she was my motivation before I went to the gym. I watched some hardcore dudes, like Phil Heath, Jay Cutler, listen to hardcore music, seeing the whole scene on YouTube, and then I watched her. So I was like, let's be like a Dana, and I just went to pump it. It was amazing. Like, get the muscles, going
I remember
hardcore,
the first
just really
time
hardcore.
I seen her shoulders, her delts, and I was
Yeah,
like, my delts are going to look like this. And I'm slowly getting there, I'm obsessed with big delts on women. They look fantastic. And I'm slowly getting there. And I follow her workouts. And she trains like an absolute beast. And her shoulders days are like the best. Like, I couldn't come up with all this crazy stuff that she does to herself. So I'm like, oh, I love those workouts.
Yeah, she's definitely hardcore. Her shoulders are definitely outstanding. Like nothing that you see just like that everywhere. Especially you being natural on top of that. I think that's definitely amazing to feel great about yourself that you reaching someone of this quality.
I'm not natural though.
No, you're not. What do you mean? I mean, yeah, what do you mean?
I'm not natural.
You're not natural. In which way?
You assumed I'm natural. No, that's why I wanted to talk to you about it.
You're not natural. I mean, depend. Okay, there is a perception of being natural. Yeah, so if you take paracetamol, technically you're not natural anymore. If you take creatine, you're not natural anymore. You're on the scale of natural.
It's not that. It's actually anabolic steroids, but not injectables.
Okay, okay. So
Because that's the thing. Nobody says it out loud.
I'm aware that, I mean, there are podcasts nowadays that, especially with Dana Lynn Bailey and Martin, the guy, whatever was his name, surname, you were trying to call her out. Have you been taking this? No. Have you tried that? No, I never tried anything. I'm natural, so on and so forth. Yeah. So she always says no, and I get it. Yeah, because of money, so on and so forth. You're not supposed to say those things.
But it's lying. It's literally lying.
We know that.
And it's telling all these other women that want to look like this that they can achieve it. And it's not the case. It's impossible. It's impossible to achieve that body without help of anabolic steroids. And look how long she's been maintaining that body as well. For like 10 years, she's been ripped. It's just impossible. That's not the way human body works. Actually, people out there, especially women, you go to like a fitness influencers page, yeah, on Instagram, and I always show it to my clients. And I always make my clients aware that I am taking steroids. So don't look at me and don't you dare compare yourself to me. Because I am different. I've been training clean for 8 years. I felt like I achieved the peak of my game that I can do naturally. And I tried something and it worked and I like it and it's good for me. because I know how to take it and I'm smart about it. Yeah, all those influencers, they never mention that they're taking anabolic steroids. They never say, just what I eat in a day. It's like, I'm eating 2,700 calories on a cut, and I'm here with my 1,600 calories trying to like not lose my mind because she's on injectable steroids, so she can eat whatever the hell she wants. And I can't, or my clients can. They have to be in a deficit. When you go onto Instagram of those female fitness influencers that they have so much muscle, they're super ripped all year round, and you scroll down, you can see when they started taking it.
Or adding on top.
You can see from the pictures because they used to look like regular gym girls, I'm doing my banded glutes exercises, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, and then you start scrolling and they just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's in the space of a year.
Oh my God.
That they get from a regular gym girl to a massive muscle mummy. And they never talk about it. They never point it out. And I know that people might scrutinize me for taking steroids. Fine. It's my life. It's my body. I do what I want. But I just want to be honest with all those people out there. They have very unrealistic expectations towards themselves and what their body can do. Remember, most of those people take steroids. They will never tell you because steroids are illegal, and they will never talk about it. Never. Because I don't know what it is. It's like a pride thing, like people think that if you take steroids, you don't have to train as hard. You have to train harder because your body can take more.
Eat more, do more.
More than when you're natural. Like in natural, you do 2 exercises, you feel the fatigue in your muscle. And when you're taking anything, you do an hour and a half and you're like, I could do another. I don't feel like I trained hard enough.
Like spending more time, more dedication, more food as well, because you need more calories. If you're working hard, I presume you need more calories as well, right?
Yeah, of course, because your body just becomes this fat burning machine. You're constantly hungry as well. Constantly. It never stops. So yeah, you need a lot of self-restraint. And yeah, it's not as easy as just going, I'm going to be big now, It's a lot deeper subject, and also how steroids affect your mentality, your emotions and everything else, and how you have to be able to recognize, is this me or is it the steroids talking, or is it my hormones talking at the moment? Because when you take it and your hormone level fluctuate throughout the day, you will get the spike where you feel great, and your steroids wear off. You start going down into the ditch, and you might get really angry for no reason. You might get really sad, and the hunger is up and the fatigue is up. And then when you take it, it spikes up again. So it's like a roller coaster of emotions and feelings throughout the day when you're taking them, when you're on them.
It sounds like a lot of fun, yeah. I mean, especially having a partner, respective partner.
Yeah, he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot, but he got used to it, and I've learned how to control it as well.
Oh, so you know yourself. You getting to know yourself even more throughout the time.
The first cycle is like always the worst, and I don't get side effects because I'm taking something very, very gentle that doesn't affect me much. But there are women out there that, like Dana herself, taking Tren, Diana Ball, and stuff that is very, very invasive, but gives you the best results. But I can't imagine the side effects that she's having.
That must be insane, to be honest. Like, I didn't expect that she's taking Tren. I heard about it, of course, and others as well. But wow, that's. I mean, first of all, I'm already shocked that you're enhanced, and I wasn't aware.
But you see, I could bullshit you into oblivion that I'm not on it. I just have amazing physique, and I work so hard, which I do. I do work hard for the way I look. It doesn't take away from the hard work that I'm doing, but I am enhanced. And so many people don't realize how many of us are taking it without saying a word and feel so insecure about themselves. Because like, how did she grow so much in the space of a couple of months? Or how did she lose so much weight? And I can't do it. And they just give up. Because you never come clean. Because nobody comes clean and nobody wants to talk about it. And it pisses me off.
I mean, rightfully, for sure. Definitely rightfully, because then you just put in this perception out there that you can look like this, especially for women. I'm aware it's more difficult, to gain size, muscle, strength. also your bone density, everything, just you're not made to be huge and so on, or more muscular even than some men naturally. Yeah, you're just not made for that. You're supposed to be feminine and so on and so forth. I get it in a certain way, yeah. Yet also respect you overall women for going through the birth. You know, that's something that I heard you've been already given. So your pain tolerance is different than a man's tolerance, as far as I'm aware, as I heard. Yeah, and I was like, okay, biologically it would make sense. So when you told me there are some women they can take some real stuff, you know, like going through hard pain shit, I'm like, yeah, I heard about one. I seen myself one which could go through brutal training. I'll be crying like a puppy. She was like, yeah, that wasn't that bad. We continue. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like what? I was like, I would be crying. And she had my personal trainer. He put me through some stuff and I was dead for a week. She was like, yeah, that wasn't that bad. Let's continue. I'm like, what the
Yeah,
hell?
you don't get sore at all. You don't get sore. You don't get fatigued.
Huh?
It's mental. That's why a lot of people are really, they love it. Like I love it, but I know that there's a time to take it. So when you're on the cycle, and there's time off cycle. If you're not careful, you just get very, very addicted to being on the cycle because of how it feels and how you get stronger, better, faster. You get more endurance and all this stuff, and you feel like you can move mountains. And then when you're off cycle, you hit the dip, you start losing your muscle, you start losing your strength. Sleep is pretty terrible, and everything just feels like loose. And it's not a nice feeling at all, especially that you've been working so hard and you felt like you could move mountains, and sky is the limit. And now all of a sudden you're just sitting there like, oh, I feel like shit.
Oh, wow.
But to be able to mentally, like tell yourself this is a part of the process, I am this for 2 months, and then I am this for 2 months, and it's okay because it's a part of the process. Just crack on with it and try to enjoy your training, and salvage whatever you can. Yeah, do something different, challenge yourself in a different way. It's not always about being able to lift more or do this or do that. Some things just have to take a step back and just enjoy it. And a lot of people forget about it, and that's why they get addicted, and that's why they die at the age of 40.
Which is very sad. Yeah, definitely. There are so many great people that,
Like Rich Piana, for example.
oh, that was extreme.
Yeah. Yeah, but I know a lot of people that are this extreme with the steroid usage. Because there's like, they go from one extreme to another because they are so insecure about the way they look. They sacrifice their own health for that kick that they get. It's like being addicted to drugs. It's exactly the same. You get addicted to the way it makes you feel. And, if you think you can control yourself and you want to try things, then absolutely fair enough. But if you don't think you have this mental capacity to stop, like if you have this very addictive personality, then I would never recommend using steroids to anybody that doesn't think they've got mentally what it takes to do it. I'm not saying I'm like the strongest mentally strongest guru ever, because I struggled with it myself at the start. But now I got to the point where I can actually control it a lot better, and I know when it's the steroids talking and when it's me talking. If that makes sense. I know it sounds weird. It's like I have a demon whispering in my ear.
I mean, yes, I know. Like, I get the perception that what you're telling me. Yeah, so I definitely think this is legit. As you said, having two different voices in your head, and being also on hormones. It also reminds me when you're on contraception. Yeah, for example, many times I heard stories, even from my partner that I've been with for 11 years. She was a different person, kinda, when she was on contraception. They have an external hormones put in her body to do something in order to do certain thing. Yeah, someone is not to get pregnant for someone, get bigger, stronger, leaner, whatever it may be, but it's external hormones. So I'm not surprised that you're saying it kind of changed the way that you behave and also the way you perceive things. Yeah, having two different voices sounds maybe crazy, but if you have something from external source in your own body, like if I were now on TRT, I think I would feel amazing and aggressive probably as well. And I feel like I could conquer the world, it sounds great. It does sound great. But also maybe I will need to start checking my blood, in terms of having a problem with the blood, going on tests, everything. And that might be something, if I'll be on it for a very long time, I may never be able to reverse it, which is kind of scary. So have you decided to stay on steroids for the rest of your life, or is this something that maybe just temporary, so you have your ins and out, as you mentioned, having a breaks?
I'm having breaks between cycles, but what I wanted to touch up on, which is a quite big issue for me, is it's okay for women to take contraception, and no one is surprised with women taking hormones. But when you tell somebody that as a woman you're taking steroids, which is exactly the same thing, just different effect, you get really like, why would you do that? Like, why are you taking steroids? But you're okay with me to take contraception and poison my body with the hormones that actually, serve the purpose for you as well, benefit you as well as much as they benefit me. But you're not okay with me to take steroids because I want to achieve a certain body goal. And I had this conversation with my partner before I first started. He was completely against it. He was like, you shouldn't be doing that. You're putting this stuff in your body. You don't know what it's going to do. It's hormones. You don't want to play around with it. But I was like, but it's okay for me to take contraception every single day. Yeah. Because you don't want to have children. Yeah. And I don't want to have children. So it's okay to poison my body for the entire year around just for this single purpose. But it's not okay for me to take something that I want to take.
When you think about it that way, it's almost the same thing, just serving different purpose. And if you take it a whole year round without the break, come on, that's crazy.
And that's what most women do. My best friend and a client was on contraception since she was 16. She's 25 now. So she's been taking contraceptive pills and antidepressants, which English doctors are really prone to prescribing to absolutely everybody because it's cheaper than therapy or actually doing something about the issue, yeah?
Of course, yeah.
And it completely ruined her body. She's got overactive thyroid, which has not been previously reported in her family history, so it's not hereditary. She's got so many different health issues, and her brain is not producing serotonin, so she's got to be on the antidepressants all the time because she was so young when she started taking it that her brain didn't even develop fully. Her female organs didn't develop fully, and she was already like throwing all this stuff onto it because she was prescribed it by the doctor who said she's gonna be better. And now later on in life, she struggles. She couldn't get pregnant. At the moment, she can't even try for a baby. And it's all because of that. So it's so easy to prescribe contraception to older women because they don't want to have children. It became very, very common about 10 years ago. And now all the side effects are coming out now. I don't know if you've heard about how many women are infertile.
No, I haven't.
Like how bad it's getting.
Is that so?
It's crazy. The numbers are crazy. I don't know the exact figures of how like the fertility decreased in the last 5 years. But if you have a spare moment, look it up and look into it because it's really, really interesting. And as we've mentioned before, majority of my clients are female. And when we have a chat about the contraception pills and how it affects them, and when I encourage them to stop taking it, they see so many health benefits and so many positive changes just from stopping the pill, just stopping taking the pill. Helps them massively on the weight loss journey, with the muscle gain as well. When I was on contraception on the pill, like even before the steroids started, every time when I was taking it, I really struggled to put muscle on.
Yeah.
Like it was impossible to get stronger in the gym, to put muscle on. It was holding me back. It was increasing my appetite, so I would gain weight. Just, it wasn't worth it. It was not worth it at all. And when I stopped taking it, I felt so much better.
Really?
Yeah, so much better. Like a completely different person. And my performance was better. Everything improved from that point on. It's also finding the pill that works for you because every woman is different. We have bad reactions to one and then bad reaction to another. And there's sort of loads of different ways and they affect you differently. It's just such a broad subject.
Wow.
That I always touch up with my clients. So training females is a lot harder than training males in a sense. Because there's so many components that go into it, pharmacological, and the hormonal way as well. And the cycles, the menstrual cycle and stuff like that is also involved. And you have to think about it when you're programming the workouts. It gets quite difficult, but it's not something that can't be managed, you just need to be careful with what you're doing. So in terms of my steroids use, it depends. I would do either 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off, very short cycle, or I do 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off. So I always take the same amount of time off that I had when I was on, just to bring everything back to what it was, restore the balance within my body. And during winter, so starting from late September all the way until January, I don't take anything.
All right. Wow. So you have an actually decent gap in between because of what? Just clearing out your body, all the toxins, or give it a break, or don't push it too hard.
Yeah, just literally restore balance. Because at the end of the day, I want to have this body for at least another 40 years, if I may, and I don't want to mess it up only because I want bigger debts. Like, you have to be mindful. Do you have to know that you're putting something that you shouldn't be putting into your body, and you have to allow your body to have a break from it from time to time.
It's great that you're so mindful about it and also having the understanding that sometimes it's needed and not just pushing it hard for price of having bigger muscles for maybe 3 years or so, but then every 3 years is going to cut another 5 years of your life potentially, which is definitely not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially that, steroids are illegal. So you don't know who made them. You don't know what they put in it. There could be anything in there. So you have to be mindful of that it didn't come from some, a pharmaceutical company that's being regulated by the government body. Somebody made it in his garage.
Okay.
There is a risk in that as well. And it's a completely different world, the world of steroids. Like, you know who's taking them, you go to them and they recommend you things that works for them, and it's like a big conversation, and you go onto forums as well, you read the opinions of other people and what they said about this particular supplier, test it on yourself if it works, because if you go with this supplier, it might not be as good as from that supplier. So yeah, it's a very, very broad spectrum.
This garage or that garage, like which garage you go for this week or this month.
When you buy a batch, it's an entire cycle. So you have to take it for like a month or two. So you have to trust the person that is selling it to you. So you always ask the people that took the stuff from this particular person, is it good? Is it bad? Like, how did it work on you? Did you have side effects?
Cheers. That's a lot. Like, do you got the stuff from Jimmy? Yeah, Jimmy's got the good stuff, mate. That's the good stuff.
It's all ordered online.
Oh.
I don't know those people. It's all
Even
ordered
better.
online.
I thought it's like maybe your like gym circle, like, oh, that guy, that's the guy. Like, go and see him.
No. So like, you can create your own account on the websites and order from that. They check you and stuff like that, just to make sure you're safe. And if you struggle to create a website, you can always ask somebody who's got the access to grant you the access, so they can order it for you, basically. And people are making a lot of money on it.
I bet.
Yeah, a lot of money.
Don't the lousy. Everyone's gonna be like, I know what I'm gonna become when I get old,
Yeah, that's why most of the small bodybuilding gyms, that's how they make money, on steroids.
That's sad, to be honest.
Yeah, we will have to cut it short and come back to it if you want.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, yeah.
I would love to keep talking.
Me too, yeah. There's a lot to say.
I think I surprised you with a couple of things. You didn't expect them, did you?
Yeah, you can say, yeah, I would put it that way, yeah. I mean, you being on PEDs, I'm like, what? Okay, I didn't see that coming. Yeah, definitely not.
Indulge you for the surprises.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and that was Joanna, part 1. We're definitely going to continue in the conversation in the part 2. So if you have any question, leave the like and put your comment below. I'm going to read the questions, whatever may be about, whether towards me or Joanna, and we may pick your question for the next time and you get your answer. And don't forget, as always, like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you, and see you in the next episode. Thank you, my audience, for being here. And I'd like to give a shout out to people that I have learned so much from, whether their knowledge, their habits, their consistency, and people that inspire me to do this podcast, such as The Joe Rogan Experience, Trade Sports Science, Garage Gym Reviews, Josh Brett, Athlean X, Peter Attia Drive Podcast, Renaissance Periodization, Vitruvian Physique, Reduxe, Jeff Nippert, Paul Sklar, Alan Thrall, JTM Fit, Omar Isaf, David Goggins, Jocko Willing, and Matthew Walker. Please go check their content, their books, their information, and try to learn the best from it for you.
Thank you, and remember, be active.